Hi, this is Michelle Ferguson of Two Brothers Blankets. Today we're going to work on the Bindi Poncho. I'm going to get you started by working the gauge swatch with you. The steps in the gauge swatch are the same as the steps in the actual poncho workup. So once you get this gauge swatch down, you should be good to get the poncho done quickly and easily. I am left-handed, so this will be a left-handed crochet tutorial, but the steps are the same if you're right-handed. You'll just be working in the opposite direction. You will need some fingering weight yarn. The yardage will depend on what size you're doing, and a 3.75 F crochet hook or the hook that you obtain gauge with. So to start, we're going to chain 27. All right, row 1 says to work 1 DC in the 4th chain from hook and each chain across. So I'm going to start 2nd, 3rd in my 4th chain from the hook. Whoops. And work 1 DC in each chain across. All right, I've completed row 1. You should have 24 double crochet, and then this beginning chain is going to count as your 25th DC. So you should have 25 stitches total for row 1. Now row 2. It says to chain 5, and that chain 5 counts as the first double crochet plus chain 2, and then turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I've turned, and it says to skip 2 and to work 1 DC in the next. So since this first stitch counts as your first stitch, we are going to skip the next 2. So 1, 2, and then we're going to double crochet in that next one. And then it says to skip 2 and to DC, chain 1, DC, chain 1, DC in the next. So skip 2, DC, chain 1, DC, chain 1, DC in the next. All right. And then it says to skip 2 again. So we skip 2 and then work 1 double crochet in the next. Then it says to chain 2, skip 2, and work a DC in the next. So I've chained 2, skip 2, DC in the next. It says to do that twice. So I'm going to chain 2, skip 2, DC in the next. And then it says to skip 2, so no chaining, and then we are going to work DC, chain 1, DC, chain 1, DC in the next again. So I skip 2, DC, chain 1, DC, chain 1, DC, all in one stitch. And then it tells me to skip 2 again, DC in the next, and then skip 2 and DC in the last. Oh, chain 2, skip 2, DC in the last. So chain 2, I'm going to skip 2, I'm going to double crochet into that starting chain, and that will count as my last stitch. So that's what the end of row 2 of the gauge swatch looks like. You're going to have 13 double crochet across. Row 3 says to chain 4, and that it counts as a double crochet plus 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then turn. It says to skip the chain 2 space and to work 3 DC in the next DC. So we're going to work right here into this double crochet. and we're going to work 3 double crochet into that one. 1, 2, 3. And then it says to skip the next DC. So we're skipping that first DC right here of these 3 double crochet. We're going to skip that one. And it says to work 3 in the next one. So 1, 2, 3. And then we do the same thing again. We skip the next double crochet and work 3 into the next one. 1, 2, 3. All right. Then it says to chain 1 and to double crochet in the next double crochet. So this DC right here, we're going to just do our 1 double crochet in it. And then we need to chain 1 again. And we repeat. So we're going to skip that chain 2 space right here. And we're going to work 3 double crochet in the next DC. Whoop. And then we're going to skip the next DC and work 3 into the next one. 2, 3, and then skip the next and work 3 into the next. Whoops. And then we are going to chain 1 and we are going to work 1 DC in the 3rd chain of that starting chain 5, which counted as our last stitch. So there is row 3. You're going to have 21 double crochet at the end of row 3 of your gauge. So row 4, we're going to chain 3 and we're going to turn. It counts as 1 stitch. Then it says to DC 3 together. So we have this group of 3 double crochet. We're going to do a DC 3 together. So let me show you how to do that in case you don't know. You're going to yarn over. You're going to insert your hook into that first stitch. You're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again. Insert your hook into the next DC, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. Do it again, yarn over, insert hook into the 3rd double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 4 of those loops. And that's how you work DC 3 together. Let's look at the next step. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do it again. So we're going to insert hook into the first DC, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Whoops, I pulled through 3. There we go. Yarn over, insert hook into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You'll have 4 loops at the end of your hook, or on your hook at the end of your, right before your last step. Then you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 4. So then we need to chain 4 again and do it again. So DC 3 together. One last time. And then it says to DC in the next stitch, or DC. So we're going to work in that double crochet right here in the middle. We're just going to work 1 double crochet. Then it says to repeat across. So we are going to DC 3 together. Then we're going to chain 4 and do it again. And then chain 4 and do it again. And then to finish off, we are going to work a double crochet in the top of that starting chain. There you go. And so since we did DC3 together, now we're only going to have 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because these DC3 together count as 1 stitch. All right, row 5, we're going to chain 3 and turn. And we're going to work 1 DC in the next stitch. So this first one is our first stitch, the chain. So we're going to work into that first DC3 together. And then it says we're going to work 4 DC in the chain 4 space. So here's our chain 4 space. We're going to work 4 double crochet into that. Three, 4. And then it says to work 1 DC in the next. So that next DC3 together from the row before, we're going to work a double crochet into it. And then 4 DC in the chain 4 space. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then 1 DC in the next 3 stitches. So we have a DC3 together here, we have 1 DC here, and then we have another DC3 together here. So we're going to work into each of those. So 1, 2, and then the third one. And then we're going to work 4 DC in the chain 4 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 DC in the next stitch, which is this chain DC 3 together. We'll work a 1 in it. Whoops. And then 4 in the chain 4 space, 4 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and then it says 1 DC in the last 2 stitches. So we have a DC3 together right here we can work into. So that's 1. And then we're going to work at the top of the starting chain for our second one. And that is row 5. Then now you should be back to your 25 DC. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,